Shalom, Yashrala. This your brother Dawadah, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and our will. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article. It seems like as every day is progressing, this is one of the hot, heavy topics. But nevertheless, hey, the time is being shortened right before our eyes, man. All right, because, the things that we were speaking about, as they're actually starting to come to pass right before your eyes in real time, man. All right, this thing isn't far down the road. All the things we're saying is, they'll probably do that in another year, 2 years, or things like that. It's not like, things are going back to normal. All this is about to go away, because there was a lot of people who were saying that had the same sentiment. Once they started opening things back up and everything like that, people started coming back out the woodworks and started laughing, smirking, and smiling. Telling us, see, y'all thought that this was the end all be all and everything like that. But lo and behold, they came out with a different variation of this scenario and running you right back through the gambit again. All right, and you've already been weakened down, and guess what? They're about to just finish demolishing things off. All right, but nevertheless, we know what these, the ultimate end game goal is with these things, man. All right, and I remember saying this not too long ago in one of my videos about this here topic. When it was coming to on the topic of the famine of the word. All right, how is and also dealing with the same scenario here. Talking about these things. They don't have a law. All right, saying that you can't talk about these things. All right, so that the government can always play that so-called saint role. Oh no, we give you the freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want. This is the freest country in the world. You can talk about the president if you want. They'll say those things. But, not too long ago, and I was saying beforehand how they was going to try to start changing the policies, or they would get to these companies and have the companies change their policies to basically back their agenda. They would use them as a scapegoat to the point to where it's like, well, we're not censoring you guys or what you're saying. There's no law against this, but, however, it's up to these corporations. If Facebook don't want you talking about certain things, they have the right to, shut down, your little page or YouTube, your channel and things like that, So the same thing we see is going on here, all right? Dealing with these scenarios, like the scriptures say that no man may be able to buy or sell save he that have, the mark, but going into that, this scenario, I used to say back in the days that, it would be more or less like a authentication token. That's how they was going to pretty much use these things. They wouldn't allow you to, go into work. You can't go to work, can't go to school, can't get on a plane, can't go into the, these different establishments, unless you have this so-called quote-unquote authentication token saying that you participated in this scenario, all right? And, as we see these stages, getting from one place to the next, I also remember saying, back in the days when they had the mask mandates, you couldn't go inside the grocery stores unless you participated by wearing the mask. I was like, see, this is how it's going to all roll out. They've already got y'all hook, line, and sinker with these, with just the mask. All they have to do is change out the variable from the mask to now we see with this this little Vicky, what I'm saying? They basically are switching it out with that now, but then you also hear them speaking in the backgrounds about these so-called digital passports, all right, which is going to lead into the third phase of what they're trying to pull out. All right, so let's read a little bit of this here article. It says Cuomo demands New York's private businesses refuse service to the unparticipants, the ones that didn't participate. Says it's in their best interest. All right, and ultimately, again, just because these people are in these positions and they're so-called talking heads doesn't mean that they ever have your best benefit. All right, because look, and it'll speak on it a little bit in this article. You already have businesses. How do you say that? Well, they shut their doors, and then in that process, they weren't able to pay their bills, so they're so far behind. All right, now they have to so-called open up, but at a small capacity. All right, they're not able to service, the public like they were. All right, and now all of a sudden they're trying to cut that population even more in half. All right, so hey, you got to think about it. They're about to start pitting these business owners against what the government is not requiring, but asking them to do. All right, because they got, at the end of the day, they have to feed their own families, man. All right. It says New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo has called on private businesses to refuse service to the unparticipant customers, admitting his own government lacks legal standing to declare a sweeping statewide mandate. And again, here he is with his deceptive ass tongue. They want to act like, oh, we can't do this because we're how you say, we're good citizens. We play by the rules. We have these laws and we can't go around these laws. But at the same time, these are the same people who quote unquote created the laws, and they can just change them up however they want. Or in this case, because they know that they got the people in a trick bag. They can just go around these so-called laws and go straight to the companies, because you have the companies that pretty much run every damn thing nowadays, man. All right. It says, acknowledging he doesn't have the legal authority to mandate private businesses to enforce a participant-only policy, Cuomo has nevertheless urged New York businesses to only serve the participants and insist restaurants, bars, and stores should refuse service to those who have not received the jab. All right. Again, this is going to be, how they're using it now. Okay, well, if you can show us your papers, this is your authentication token, you can get in. All right. This is how they're going to start causing all, both small and great, rich and poor, to receive this here 13 and 16 inside of them. All right. This is the precursor to these things. They're already getting people warmed up. It's called predictive programming. They're like, well, if we already did this, then we might as well go do this. If we're going to walk around wearing masks, we might as well go ahead and participate with this here, this basically this Jabberwocky, and if they do that, then they might as well go ahead and participate with Mr. Marcus. All right. So look, it's problem, reaction, solution. All right. Order out of chaos. This is what they've been, they already have your solution at the end all be all, man. All right. Well, we got to wear the mask. Well, the mask don't help. Well, we got to come out with some type of treatment. Well, we can't, not legally. We can't, how do you say, you can't 100% track who has this and who don't, and who has the fake paperwork and who don't. So we have to make it digital so we can do it in real time. Or, with these different strains, and things like that going out, we have to have something inside of you that's going to be able to filter out your blood real time. All right. And so these are going to be those so-called demonic ass miracles that, he's proposing, man. All right. It says, go to a participant-only admission, Cuomo urged at Monday's press conference, hinting to bars and restaurants that I believe it is in your best business interest to run a participant-only establishment. All right. And ultimately, like, you got to think about it this way. These folks are like, if we already at a half capacity over these things, or we had to shut our doors and things like that, man, nobody's going to be coming into our business. And you already have a mass migration of people that are leaving these big major cities like New York right now, man. All right. Because it's becoming super expensive for them to live. And, hey, they're chopping down these businesses left and right, left and right, left and right. All right. It says, noting that the hospitalizations with the pandemic had doubled in the preceding month, he blamed this new strain for the uptick, implying that the participants were to blame for spreading it. The new strain is believed to be significantly more contagious than previous incarnations of this here sickness. Many on social media wondered how the businesses that turned away the participants for refusing to, in effect, show their papers would get away with what is, if practiced against any other social group, will be considered discrimination. All right, and these are the same folks that love to talk about so-called equality and inclusivity and things like that, but hey, these are these hypocrites, man. All right. It says New York, like the rest of the U.S., is obliged to offer citizens equal protection under the law. Segregation in a lifetime wild marvel to one user. It says others reminded Cuomo that New York's ailing businesses, thousands of which shut down for good under the government's punishing economic response to this here situation, can't exactly afford to be picky about their customers. Hey, and this is another thing that's going on right now, man. So this is all controlled, a controlled destruction and takeover of everything to put everybody into submission. All right. And also pit everybody against everybody, because these people are going to start, the participants are going to start blaming the non-participants for the problems with everything going on. But even if you actually listen to what they're telling you, it don't make a difference if you participated or if you didn't. You still, both of y'all are pretty much at the same, quote unquote, you have the same chance of basically spreading it, catching it, and everything else like that, man. All right. Just like they tell you to wear the mask, but hey, apparently the mask don't help you. All right. They tell you to go and participate, but even if you do that, you can still wind up contracting this scenario. It says, while Cuomo appeared to believe his office lacks legal standing to force the Vicky on state employees, a legal opinion published last week by the Justice Department Office of Legal Counsel argued both public agencies and private businesses may be permitted to mandate the jab despite the fact that they are not fully approved by the Food and Drug Administration. All right. The lack of FDA approval has been a sticking point for many in their decision, or lack thereof, to force the Vicky on their employees, with some fearing legal liability and others simply wanting the peace of mind that will come with full approval. All right. Hey, you can't expect nobody to believe in something that ain't 100, not to say 100% safe, because really you don't have a lot of things that's 100% safe. But however, if you was to change it around and somebody was trying to sell you a car, and then they was asking about this car, it's a brand new car. Well, we just rushed it up out the factory and everything like that. There are some reports that, the gas pedal sticks sometimes, the brakes go out sometimes, the wheels will fall off sometimes, the motor might explode sometimes, the airbag might just deploy on your ass at any point in time. All these different things could happen. If this was the sales pitch for this here vehicle, most people be like, nah, we'll just wait till y'all get it, worked out, and then you can't really blame them for that, man, because you selling them something that ain't been fully tested, and it could potentially put them in danger. All right, this is like a major selling point for Volvo vehicles, all right, because Volvo is like one of those, quote unquote, one of the safest car brands to have and everything. So they use that as an advertisement piece of how safe their cars are, all right? But again, flip it around. If you had a car company that was telling you about all these different flaws and different things like that, but buy the new 2021, whatever it is, but even though it has all these flaws, it could blow up on you and things like that, just buy our car. Don't worry about the problems. A lot of people are like, nah, we don't trust them cars because they have these issues. I remember back in the days, they had the Firestone, Bridgestone tires they used to put on those Ford Explorers. And there was a lot of these tires that were just having blowouts and people were rolling over their cars and everything like that, to where a lot of people was like, nah, we ain't even messing with that company because it's not safe and reliable. We're looking at the track record, man. No matter how you try to advertise it to us, this just don't even sound right, So the same thing with this. However, this new legal opinion may be a game changer for offices like Cuomo's. The governor has already required all state employees either be a participant or submit to a weekly testing by September 13, and earlier for some workers. But given the tone of his remarks, it appears he would just as soon jettison the testing option and switch to a full mandate, assuming he can. The New York governor has long called for harsh treatment for the unparticipants, suggesting last month that they be put into cars, be driven to basically jabbing stations or stabbing stations sites after being convinced to go by officials. He launched a $15 million campaign to target those New Yorkers who have not yet received the jab as of last month, even as the state boosted one of the highest jab rates in the nation. So, hey, they're putting people down on these lists, all right, and they're starting to come for you, man. All right, ultimately for, we know about us being in this here truth, we were commanded not to participate with this. So for standing on the word of the Most High, man. Now you have other people who may use that same so-called quote-unquote excuse that's not even a part of what we, like let's say they Edomites or their own different agendas for why they don't want to participate. But nevertheless, this is, going to be the time of our trying, the great temptation is coming upon the whole earth, man. Do you really believe that? Or do you really believe in what you believe in? Or are these things compromisable based off of your financial situations? All right. It says as of Monday, 75.4% of adults in New York has at least one dose, and 68 are fully equipped, more or less to say. All right. Well, shit, one of y'all boasting that herd immunity. If 75% of the people up there is jabbed up, why are you worried about the other 25%, right? Cuomo is hardly one of the only one to call for a societal level shunning of the unparticipant either. National Institutes of Health Director Francis Collins made it clear on Sunday that he supports taking such a policy national, telling CNN he approved of using mandates as tools to encourage reluctant folks to get the Vicky because they'll want to be a part of these public events. All right, going into, he calls all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, and receive this here mark. All right, they're not going to be able to buy or sell safe. They have the mark. You're not going to be able to participate. All right. It says last week, CNN anchor Don Lemon even argued that the unparticipant people shouldn't be permitted in supermarkets. All right, so if you can't go to the supermarket, you won't be able to eat. All right, and you think about that, the way this divide is already going on in the nation. So what are you going to do? Send one of your participating friends in there? They ain't going to be around you. It's going to be that much more of a hassle for, they're going to just like, why don't you just go do it? I'm tired of going to the grocery store for you, and then they'll tell them like, yo, if you know anybody or you see anybody that's not participating, give us a call. We'll go give them a visit, It says, though recent data has revealed that the participant individuals appear to be as susceptible to this infection as their unparticipating peers. The illness so far seems to be less severe in those who received, who participated. So, they over here screaming at how we need to be safe, we need to do this, we need to do that. But look, they telling you even right here, man, even if you do participate, not only can you still catch it, you can still spread it and everything else like that. So what's really the point? And I believe what your boy name is, Lindsey Graham, that's also in the news today about how he wound up contracting this, even though he didn't participate in it, right? It says plenty of businesses have already taken Cuomo's advice in declaring the unparticipant persona non grata. Danny Meyer, owner of popular Shake Shack chains of restaurants, made waves over the weekend when he declared that the unparticipants were not welcome at his restaurant chains, leading some to call for a boycott. Many have warned of the two-tiered society that government seem determined to create, pointing at the participating passports being adopted against popular will in countries like France and Italy as a speedy route for more discrimination. All right, and so as we see these things here are pretty much coming to fruition of all the things we've been telling you about. All right, so this is Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. All right, and one of the major things that a lot of Jake was saying when these things first came out, they ain't gonna be sticking me with this, they ain't gonna be doing that to me, in all these different scenarios, and that was when everything was all cool, calm, and collective. And a lot of Jake really don't want to participate in these things, but these are pretty much the 2/3. So once they tell them, look, you can't go to work, you're gonna have to lose your job, which is in turn you're gonna lose the roof over your head. All right, in turn you're gonna not be able to afford food. All right, then you ain't gonna be able to go out, go party, go hang out with chicks, and go do all the nonsense you normally be doing. All right, because you ain't want to participate, man. And Jake gonna be like, well, shit, man. If I want to participate, I gotta go ahead and go do this. Or if I want to, go out and indulge in these things of the world, then I gotta participate, man. All right, so this is pretty much what they, how do I say? This is pretty much how they have it set to start taking, these people down that damn, onto that slaughtering block. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. All right, and I remember watching the news early off when it was, talking about us, saying, oh, don't listen to these conspiracy theorists, these other folks, this and that's talking about, oh, we're going to go into a lockdown, and we went into a lockdown. Oh, they're going to require everybody to do this, and require everybody to do that, and we're not going to be doing all these things. It's just for a small time. We just, it's safer at home if you stay home for 14 days and just ride it out. Then lo and behold, now look where we at, man. All right, when they were screaming, they wasn't trying to take people's rights. They wasn't trying to force people to do these things. They wanted to encourage everybody to make their own decisions. But now they over here telling you, look, we're going to start rolling up to your doors and start forcing you to go do these things, man. We're urging these these companies to change their policies to not allow people to work at these establishments, not go to these colleges, not be able to go into these different public areas. All right, not be able to go into these different businesses, whether it be restaurants, supermarkets, whatever type of store you want to go in, if they don't participate. So what kind of society do you think we're going into, man? All right, these are the things that are running out right before your eyes in real time, and there's a lot of people who don't want to so-called watch the news all day long and be listening to all these things. Hey, but for these same people, they're going to get caught like a thief in the night, the ones that want to ignore the word of the Lord, and then one day they go and go to the grocery store like they would normally do, and they're gonna ask them for their papers. Oh, what you mean my papers? I ain't participating in that. Well, you can't come in here. Well, what you mean I can't come in here? Well, look, you can't come in here. We got the police here. You can't come in. They try to go to another store, then that's when it's gonna just hit their ass, like a brick wall, because it's gonna come quote unquote unexpected unto them. That damn, everything just changed up like that all of a sudden. Where did this come from, man? All right, the same people were saying the same thing about these folks with the mask when it was like in the very early stages on, but then when they started requiring you to wear these things up in the store, some people was walking to the store not even knowing about it, just seeing people wearing their little masks. But then all of a sudden they get to the door of the store and they're like, nah, you can't come in here without this. And they're like, wait, what you mean? When did this become a thing? All right, but nevertheless, hey, all these visions is yet for an appointed time, man. All right, and the main vision that we're speaking about, all right, Revelation 13 and 16, and he calls it all, both small and great. All right, both small and great, no matter who you are. If you want to have a job being a janitor, all right, or if you're the CEO of this here company, all right, you have to participate. All right, rich and poor, because, and this is one of the things that's so crazy to me, hypocritical to me, is like the fact that they telling everybody how they need to be washing their hands and wash your hands, social distance, and watch who you have around you and everything else like that. Make sure that your health isn't compromised, or these people are the ones that get sick first, right? Well, how come ain't nobody bring up nothing about the so-called quote-unquote homeless people, man? All right, because everything that they want to basically say, like the quote unquote homeless people, have it even worse than that, man. All right, they don't they don't have it to where, obviously they don't have a home, so they can't just be sitting there washing their hands every 5, 10, 15 minutes. All right, they just outside. A lot of times they eat out the trash or just eat whatever, man. All right, so look, they're not very quote unquote sterile or so-called top of the line health and everything else like this, living outside, not social distancing and everything else like that. But look, you don't see a quote unquote uprising in them. They're not even calling out for them at this point in time. All right, but ultimately, hey, it's going to be like that. It's going to come to one of these things because you have a lot of these people being unemployed, about to lose their jobs, lose their houses. You got the moratorium, I believe, got lifted up. But nevertheless, you're going to have all these people, and that was crazy. We've seen a lot of people moving over the weekend from the building across from us, but then that building also just had flood damage. But nevertheless, it wouldn't surprise me that, hey, now they, a lot of these people was living up in there without paying rent. Now they got to pay out the rent. They so far behind, or they, just like in that same building, they used to require them to all wear a mask if they wanted to walk through the lobby, man. All right, so imagine you living in a high-rise building or apartment building, and they just put a notice out to everybody. Look, we require everybody to participate because we don't need folks or your kids running through the hallways of the apartments and getting everybody sick. Or you live in a high-rise building, maybe you walk into the elevator, get on the elevator, and you touch the buttons, and now you got everybody else sick, man. So these are, these things aren't far-fetched, man. All right, these things are not a conspiracy. These aren't our words. We're reading it in an article how they're pushing for these things, these ideas right now, man. All right. It says he calls all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. All right. So not only, the people that are out here in the regular world. All right. But even these folks that's going to be locked up in prisons. All right. The military and everybody else like that, man. They're going to require them to also, participate in this. I remember when they were starting to let a lot of these people out of jail early with these nonviolent crimes, so they didn't have this here spread that was just spreading through. But you think they care about them like that? No, they don't care about them, man. But these are different excuses for them to be able to mandate or push these things out on everybody to so-called, like the scripture say, when they should say peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction come upon them. All right. It says he caused all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right. And we ultimately know what the end game goal is with this. All right. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And so we just literally just read that in the article, how Cuomo is asking or urging these businesses to not let these folks into their own businesses, whether it be the supermarket, a football stadium, all right, or any of these different bars or any of these types of establishments, man. All right. So again, you're not going to be able to buy or sell. It's not even the fact to the point right now where you don't have money to be able to buy. So you can have all the money in the world, but it's like, yo, you got to, basically show your papers or you got to go through this here testing, man. And they show that these tests come back flawed or false. All right. They'll give you a false positive or a false negative. All right. So, hey, man, it's just pretty much a gamble. They can be like, all right, you can come, you can't come. You can come, you can't come, man. Whoever and however they want to put it, man. All right. Verse 18, here's wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for is the number of man, and his number is 666. All right. But nevertheless, going into this here, new scenario, man, this whole place, is all about to crumble. Let me grab that real quick in Isaiah 24. Isaiah 24, I'm going to start at verse 8. The mirth of tabret ceases. The noise of them that rejoice endeth. The joy of harp ceases. So, right now you have a time where everything is on limited capacities. Now, they actually are rolling out a lot of these concerts and these big events, right? But then at the same time, they're saying, hey, in the places where we have these big events, we're having these big spikes and everything else like that, man. We were just on a shutdown last year. All right, so don't be surprised if they start shutting things back down again, man. You can't have, they stopped the Macy's Day Parade last year, Thanksgiving and things like that, man. All right, so how much more where they got this new deadlier variation of this scenario that's going on around here? All right, if they locked everything down for the so-called baby stage of it, how much more of a mutated adult stage of it, man? All right, so they should not drink wine with the song, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. And also going into, these people not really being in too much of a mirth spirit, but hey, looking at the things coming from on high, man. I'm losing my job, losing my family, got to worry about this here stress everywhere. They mandating these inoculations. I ain't really with that. Or you on the other side of the fence. I don't understand why people just won't participate. These folks are the reason, and they over here, spreading all these different things and stuff like that, and they just out here on the worry. They just scared, man. All right. It says, verse 10, the city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. And this is what you have going on throughout the state. You have different places like here in Florida where they're saying they're not going to mandate the kids wear a mask going back to school. It'll be up to the parent to send the kids like that. But then you have other states that are looking at places like Florida. Like, man, y'all the reason why all these things is being, shut down and everything like that. Because y'all don't take these things serious, man. All right. But nevertheless, it's starting to close down a lot of these quote unquote businesses, mom and pop businesses and things like that, man. All right. Putting people on this here unemployment, getting people basically so far behind on their rent that, once they bring these things back up, it's pretty much going to put them into an eviction state, man. All right. It says there's a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened and mirth of the land is gone. And this is what you have going on as well right now. You have people that, first of all, that was so scared to go outside. They were scared to be around their relatives for these different holidays. All right. They wasn't really going to the store, going to the malls. They're not going to these big populated places no more, man. All right. Because of the fact that they're all afraid of these different things. But not only them, the people that don't want to participate, they still going out and doing, all these different things. And then they getting mad and flipping out. And I ain't wearing this. I ain't doing that. I ain't, or staging protests or walkouts at their jobs, man. All right. It says, verse 11, there's a crying for wine in the street. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. All right. So, hey, look, they're crying for some type of answers out in the streets. All right. They're looking for advice, something to do. Or what do we do here? But you have people like Fauci telling them one thing, and then at the very next press conference, he telling them the opposite. All right. He was like, oh, well, we got to wear a mask. Oh, the mask don't really help. Oh, well, if you participate, you ain't got to wear the mask no more. Well, even if you do participate, you still got to wear the mask. Well, if you participate, you can't get it no more. Well, if you participate, you can still catch it. If you catch it once, you can't catch it twice. Well, if you catch it once, you can now catch it twice. All right. So they're flip-flopping on all these different things, man. All right. They don't know which way to go, and they don't know whose advice to take, man. All right. Verse 12, the city has left desolation and the gates smitten with destruction. All right. And so this is what you have with all these businesses being going out of business, all these people moving from place to place all over, from, let's say, a place like New York to a cheaper place like Georgia or Florida. All right. Because they're trying to get up out of these states where they can't even afford to live there because, look, the price of living is just so high. They're not even working. All right. But nevertheless, these are the things that's being played out right before our eyes, man. All right. We can, we're measuring the time diligently. All right, we see all these things as they're happening. All right, we see the division is clearly speaking loud and clear, man. So we know, call halal Bashim Yahushua, he gave us, the right teachers to teach us the right way and to watch the right things and had us out there teaching the right things as well. Because guess what? Now all these things are actually coming to pass, man. All right, it's not like, we're talking about things and you don't see no effects of these things, man. All right, you do see Jake waking up all over the four corners of the earth. You see an Esau being exposed on the four corners of the earth. You see the chariots being revealed to the mass populations. You see the wars and the rumors of wars being stirred up. You see the 1316, Project 1316, all right, being implemented and set up right before your eyes, man. All right, and you also see, let me grab that. We'll close out there. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil has come down to you having great wrath, because he knows he have but a short time. And right now he's using this here policy to craft his wickedness, to perfect his wickedness and things like that, man. All right, using the laws, how do I say? Well, let me just grab it because the scripture say it better. It says, and through Daniel's 8:25, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes. He shall be broken without hand. Now, when you look at these things, the things is, circulating with this information about, well, we know that these certain companies that are giving you this here mixture. All right, the thing that they have in there is what they say on their own website is a operating system, which is consistent with basically computer programs and things like that. All right, and from the regular research of these nanobots or smart dust or Morgellons disease, we understand what the game plan is, man. All right, but nevertheless, we know that they could just turn on a switch or something like that and then cause a straight up chaotic sense. All right, and then all of a sudden now, see, this is why we need more of this and more of that. We need to go push for stricter, stricter restrictions. All right, but nevertheless, hey, we understand what, like I said, his game plan is. He has a short time, so he's coming down with great wrath, and he's going to do whatever it takes to quote unquote succeed in his own agenda. But we know, according to the book of Job, that when he's about to, well, let's close with that. Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, all right, when he's about to have everything, his heart's desire, the whole world under his subjection, all right, when he's, basically got Jake in that trick bag, all right, so he can kill Jake off and so-called live forever and have his blessing and everything. When he's about to do all these things, i.e. implement the Project 1316, all right, because we know ultimately that's his plan, where he's going to quote unquote be like the Most High, all right, knowing everything about you and can turn you on, turn you off whenever they want, man. All right, so we see that these things are right around the corner, right? It says, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So we know that the times are, Salakia, one more precept. Matthew 24 and 21. Well, we can start at, we'll start at 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no nor shall ever be. So, hey, going into Jacob's trouble is one thing, but look at the times that we coming into right about now, where you ain't gonna be able to go to the store, be able to have living. Back in the olden days, you could just basically go build your own house and shit. You had your own farm and everything else like that. But now you have the grocery stores and things like that, banks, and you have to get loans to get homes and things like that, and buy property and all these different things. All right, you have to participate to be able to go into their little charades of games, man. All right, but how much more, looking at how much, how do I say, the time is being shortened, or Yahweh Shah is that much more closer to the door, when they're going to stop you from going to work, stop you from going to all these different places unless you participate, man. We know that none of us will survive. Let me read verse 22. And except those days should be shortened, there shall be no flesh saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So we know that, the hour of temptation is coming upon the whole earth right about now, all right, or it's right around the corner, all right, but look, the Most High is fast forwarding this here time, shortening it down right about now, man, all right. So from last year, we just went from this whole thing popped up on the scene. All right, they started destroying a lot of these businesses, screwing people over on rental properties and people living in these homes. Started feeding people out these stimulus checks, further bankrupting America, but getting people ready for this universal basic income. All right, now they're trying to stop people from going out so they can go ahead and get them all vickied up and everything else like that, man. All right, and once, from the schools to the jobs to the homes and everything else, the grocery stores, once you get everybody into this here predicament, all right, we know that this is that great temptation is coming upon the whole earth, all right, to see if you really believe in the Most High like you say you do, man. So look, we know that, measuring time diligently, that, hey, man, it's not going to be that much more longer before we get delivered up out of here, Lord's will, we be a part of that number, man. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us his truth and never will. And salutation and much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and endure afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So next time I say, stay strong. Shalom.